Hello, today I'm making an ARM computer. Well, not like an ARM computer, like a computer with an ARM chip, though this project does have an ARM chip. I made a computer on my arm, like this arm. So at first I wanted to lay out what I wanted to accomplish, so here's a PowerPoint. Introduction, agenda, goals. Have a desktop experience on my arm. It must be able to play a YouTube video with full audio. It must be well polished and look futuristic. It must be comfortable. It must be portable and must work anywhere with the internet. Thank you. I love PowerPoint templates. So, to do this, I started looking on Amazon. First, I need a computer, and this Orange Pi 4 GB version looks nice. Then I need a screen, then a microphone, then a dongle. Then eventually it got very expensive, and I don't want to spend very expensive money. So, I started thinking, do I already have something with a touchscreen, microphone, speaker, and computer? Well, that sounds a lot like a smartphone and laptop. So I have this S5 from like 2014, and side note, you know how Apple advertised being able to use the front and back cameras at once as a special feature of the iPhone 17? Well, my Galaxy S5 can do that. I can film in front of me and my face 11 years ago before Apple, and I can even move this thing around. Anyways, Apple the innovator. I need two things now. A remote desktop software that supports audio, and a way to turn on my laptop from afar. For a remote desktop, I decided to use Chrome Remote Desktop because you need Windows Pro, EDU, or Enterprise for Microsoft Remote Desktop. So I found an old APK file that works for Android 5 and I threw it on the S5. It worked after I also installed it on my laptop. That's probably an important part. Next, I need a way to turn on my laptop from afar. I decided to use the Adafruit I/O API to be able to turn it off and on from afar by pressing a button, which presses space on my computer because I have my Pico connected to my laptop pretending to be a keyboard. The laptops turn on when you press buttons on the keyboard. Then for the physical part of this device, I needed to mount it on my arm somehow. So at first I made a quick cardboard and duct tape prototype. Here it is. You see, you put your phone in through this Velcro, through this bit, and then Velcro it shut. Then the straps Velcro onto your arms. So this technically works, but it does not fill the objective of looking futuristic. So next, I started designing a 3D printed version. At first I designed it in one part, but I realized it would be very tricky to print. So next I designed it with a dovetail so the two parts could interlock. I had never designed a dovetail before, so I was a bit worried it wouldn't work. I did know enough though to put a 0.2 mm clearance between the two parts. To make even further sure this would work, I printed a small test print, and it worked decently well, but I did notice that I should add a fillet, I don't know how to say that word, but the curved part on the side to make it slide in better. I had one other worry. You see this part look very fragile, but it'll be fine, right? Not foreshadowing. Then I printed out both the full-size parts and I put them together and they got stuck like halfway through. I just pushed them both further together and they moved, but then I couldn't separate them again. Then I asked ChatGPT how I could separate them, and it said I could put them in the freezer and the plastic might contract and make it easier to separate. This did not work, so I next tried hammering them apart, and the part that I was worried about broke. So then I reprinted it and I fixed those fragile slots and made them curved. This also made it a bit more comfortable. So I printed it and it worked on the first try, yay! Then I had to cut some straps and hot glue some Velcro. So here's what it looks like.